Hey guys, it's been a while, but welcome to the first devlog of Sharpoon. Let's go ahead and take a look at the plan for this game. The premise is harpoon fishing. I imagine you start with a couple harpoons, nothing enough to take down anything big, but a couple fishes. And when you run out of ammo, get bored of looking around, or just too afraid of some of the bigger fish, you can choose to ascend to the top. And then get paid out for the fish you caught, spend money on more resources and upgrades, and head back down to do it all over again. The goal is to get strong enough to take down the boss fish, something big and aggressive. I've already got a bunch of concept art for these characters, but I'll save that for later. I imagine there'd be multiple maps with multiple bosses and various ecosystems of fish too, but maybe I'm just getting way ahead of myself. Either way, let's get into what I've actually done. I went ahead and threw together basic character movement, with the ability to swap directions you're looking at by using A and D. Then I added basic count system for how many harpoons you have. I end up just giving myself a ton of harpoons for testing later anyways, but it's a good start. However, my code subtracted everything after shooting just one. Oops, forgot to define only subtract by 1, and now it counts properly. I started some simple art for the harpoon. To be honest, I actually really like the look of this. I'm sure it'll change though. I had to scale it in Unity, however, and I'm realizing that I need to scale everything first in Krita, and then use pixels per unit accordingly. It was time to make art for the fish. I went into this very confident, as making the art for my main character went so smooth, but something about making the tuna was just infuriating. See, I kept aiming for perfection, and anytime something would go wrong, I'd just delete it and start over the next day. And this process went on for about a week, until I finally focused up, just made something, and while it's not my favorite, it works. Next I add a melee ability with knockback, which you can't see because I don't have any effects for it, but it does knock them back. Then I added damage to my harpoons. At this point, I'm really feeling confident about myself and I'm crushing through this. I started working on calculating how much money you have, but was struggling to apply it to the UI and couldn't figure out what was going wrong. My roommate came in for the save by adding a debug statement to see if I'm actually finding my text component, which, sure enough, I'm not. I was running around in circles for hours trying to figure this out, when all along, it just couldn't find the actual text object to change. So, I tried attaching my text to a variable, and that also wouldn't work. However, finally, I realized I just needed the word TMP in front of the text. And finally, I got it to work. And I won't lie, this setback really took it out of me. I was struggling to find time, and worse yet, motivation to actually work on the game. And I spent about 2 weeks not even touching it. But at some point, I decided to boot it back up. ChatGPT started to become my best friend in this process. I used it to make my character flip on a double click, something I wanted to do for a while now and finally got around to. Next I worked on the AI for my fish, which, didn't work. Well, I tried again, and I actually made the move with my arrow keys. So then I tried fixing it with a coroutine, which still is making them jitter. And since I really know nothing about coroutines, I was pretty lost. This time, I'll run to Discord for help. And help I got, as I got something that actually kind of works. Except, there's a bug that's gone unnoticed. How did I just now realize when I flip, my harpoons don't? Oh well, I wanted to fix this problem without any help from AI, starting with a simple bool to recognize when I'm facing left. And through debugs, I can see that my bool works. And I forgot to flip the fire point. But at least my harpoons flipped. So, I tried to fix it with whatever this attempt was, and boy was I wrong. However, by defining a new vector 2 for when you're facing left and when you're facing right, I get it all working. Thank the maker. To finish out the devlog, I really wanted to make some custom background art. I really had no idea what to make the background look like for underwater, and I'll just let you watch me for a second. Booyah! And there's the finished product, and I'm actually really proud of how this turned out. And while yes, this definitely the first version, as proportions are all wrong, I mean, it needs to be bigger, This is definitely a step in the right direction.
But there's that little bug you just saw where all of a sudden my harpoon shoot behind me.
I was able to find the answer, and it's because every time you double click, it offsets it, even if you're facing in the same direction.
But I spent enough time being radio silent. I could continue fixing bugs here and there, making things a little more perfect, but eventually I just need to make a devlog. So I've decided to stop right there, make a video. The devlog is a little all over the place, I will admit. So let me take you through my future notes.
First and foremost, I gotta take better notes, because going back through, I was just lost on what I was doing sometimes. I'll also start recording and writing a script while I'm collecting videos, rather than at the end, so it should flow better.
And onto what I've learned.
I need a lot of practice with Krita. There's a vast difference in my motivation with making the fish and making the background. Something clicked while making that background, and it changed everything. Also, I'm going to need to make all the art in Krita scaled around the player. A lot of the problem with the fish is I felt it was too small a pixel size, but it needs to stay small.
Also, I have a lot to learn. Making the AI for my fish was a real eye-opener to how little I actually know about coding. And you know what? That's okay. As long as I do something every day. Even if I end up having to scrap it, I've at least learned. And eventually, it'll all fit together. Also, shout out ChatGPT for saving hours of my time every day. And that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching. Peace.